must have a leveled ground to operate. But where you are in a situation where NUP offices are closed, you remember during elections, our offices in Lira, in Chirura, and many other places were closed down by the regime. As I speak, we still have so many of our people in prisons for no crime whatsoever, simply because they were supporting Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert for president. You saw one of the young men the other day talk to General Guti about it. We cannot talk about multi-party dispensation where mobilizers, you saw our mobilizers in Kasese, who were picked up and they spent over a month in prison, actually over 2 months in prison, simply because they were found doing party work. You cannot talk about multi-party dispensation where, you know, many times, and I'm surprised, this is, and I hope that whatever I say here will be put on UBC TV as it is.
Of course it will.
Yeah, because, you know, there has even been a case previously where Dr. Besigye went to court and challenged the fact that UBC was not giving him airplay, as it should be. But in elections, I personally went to different radio stations and they were afraid to host our candidate. I went to, you know, many organizations, which media advertising agencies, and they could not allow us to advertise on billboards because they were afraid of the state. So then that's not really what we aim for as a multi-party democracy.
So how would you describe the situation we are in, looking like that in your view? But again, we see you in existence, not only you, but other political parties.
Uganda is what we normally call a hybrid regime. Previously, we had absolute dictators in many parts of Africa.
Yes.
But now what you have are dictators in suits that every once in a while they have elections, but the elections are not free and fair. You have assemblies, political parties are allowed to operate, but then they are not allowed to fully exercise their power. You have some members of parliament, but the ethos of democracy are not practiced in the country. So what we are aiming for, and this is, you see in Zimbabwe, even under Mugabe, he used to have elections and other things. We had Idi Amin here, a renowned dictator worldwide and all that kind of thing. But there were some institutions which were operating even under Idi Amin. But you cannot say that there was a democracy. Under Obote, there were elections which caused General Museveni to go into the bush. So you can exist as a party, you can be there, but when actually there is no democracy. General Museveni participated in the 1980 elections under UPM and decided to go to the bush to fight because he said there was no democracy in Uganda.
Where does that leave you as a party? Actually, not only you as the NUP, but of course you speak for the NUP, being one of their leaders, but as the political parties in Uganda, where does that kind of a situation then leave you? Do you live for a purpose as the entities?
Of course, the purpose is fighting for freedom. We are struggling for freedom. You see, when we, even if there are challenges in mobilizing our people, that's why you see us come here, use rubber dub styles to recruit members, to get more people on board, to pass out our message. That's why I'm here now speaking to you, because we want our message to reach as far, as wide. We want every Ugandan to be able to appreciate the precarious situation in which we are, and Ugandans to be able to exercise their power, because that's why we're people power, to reclaim their country and ensure that there's democratic governance in this country.
How different are you, NUP, from other political parties in Uganda? General, NRM inclusive.
Of course, for us, we are a new brand. Yes. And I don't want to really...
But in terms of ideology and agenda, how different are you?
I don't really want to speak for other parties.
Yes.
For me, I want to speak for NUP.
Exactly.
NUP is a pro-people, progressive political party here to ensure that the people of Uganda have a voice and have a right. And, you know, NUP is a generational force trying to say that let's change things in this country. Uganda should not be tortured for disagreeing with whoever they have agreed with, with whoever they have disagreed with. Ugandans should have better health care. Ugandans should have better education. Ugandans should have, there must be respect between the civilians and the security forces. The security forces must be remunerated better. And those kinds of things, I mean, if you want, you can look at a copy of our manifesto. But for us, we are guided by our values, the first of which is discipline, the second, reliability, The third, inclusiveness. The fourth, integrity, fidelity, and service. Those are our values, and those are the values we seek to represent, but also to inculcate in the population once we're able to be in government.
You see, I first asked you a general picture of all the political parties in Uganda, NRM inclusive.
Yeah.
But mainly they are the group you totally do not agree with. How about in the opposition wing? How different are you from your other colleagues, the different other entities?
That's why I said I really wouldn't want to talk about the other political parties, because...
Are you like them?
Every political party has its values, has its constitution, has
exactly.
its, you know, so we have our own set of values, set of activities, the documents that founded this party, etc., etc. FDC has their own, DP has its own, UPC and others. I'm not here to speak on their behalf,
Definitely.
all for them. But we appreciate those who came before us, and we're able to play a role, because we are not the first people here to challenge Museveni and his decadent regime. There have been people, FDC for example, has struggled for the past 20 years to see that there is change in this country. And definitely there is some contribution they have made, a very, very enormous contribution, which we must recognize. So we are not coming, we do not boast and say that, you know, we are the first. No, no, no. But all of us, and for us, our focus and our call has been that politics should not be left to the politicians. Because for a long time, politics was a preserve of a few people. One of the things that NUP has been able to do is to take politics to the common person. For the common person to understand that politics determines how they are born and how they die. For a common person to understand that actually there is a relationship between politics and the kind of food you eat, and whether you go to hospital or not, accidents on the roads, everything. So that's what we've been able to do, and that's what we want to continue doing, to involve as many people as possible in the
Because I actually wanted to ask you, you mentioned the 20 years of the FDC. The FDC found the DP in the same struggle, and the UPC and other guys.
Yeah.
What gives you the confidence that you can really do any different the FDC, DP, and all those other older guys have not done?
The struggle for freedom and democracy is a continuous struggle. It is a continuous process. And world over, you just look at South Africa.
Yes.
The struggle against apartheid took so many years. You know, if you look at when ANC was started and when it eventually took power, and many others. You saw in Zambia recently, President Hichilema winning even after 4 attempts and that kind of thing. So the struggle for freedom and democracy is a continuous struggle. It is a continuous process. And for us, what we believe that we bring on board right now, and the most important thing, is what I told you. President Bobi Wine, President Kyagulanyi did not come in as an ordinary politician, as a quintessential politician. No, he came in as a disruptive force to say, look, we need to get the common people involved in politics. And I think if you've been observing the politics of Uganda, there has never been a time when the common people get involved in politics as they have now. That is why the regime had to abduct thousands of young people during elections, because they got so scared of the involvement of the young people. You know, if you come here to our office, you'll see the people here, people who clean shoes on the streets, the people who sell food in the markets, the vendors, these hawkers who are being hunted down and chased off the streets, everyone. So for us, we represent the common people. And so Honorable Kyagulanyi came in to say, you know what? Politics should not be left to the politicians. Let politics go to the common people, because the common people are the most affected. We're here in Kamocha. If you just get time and move around the ghettos and see the life of these people, and of course, we have tried to assist them where we can, but they deserve better. You just come and see this situation here in Kamocha and juxtapose it or compare it to Naguru and see the inequality, the difference that is there. And we're saying that no, there should be inclusive economic development, that no one should be left behind.
That's your strategy?
Yeah. How
are you planning for 2026 as a party?
We are not planning for 2026. For us, every day is a day of struggle. We believe that the regime in Uganda can even crumble today or tomorrow.
How?
Through people power. You see, Article 1 of the Constitution says all power belongs to the people. Article 3 says that the people of Uganda have a right to defend the Constitution. From our perspective, the Constitution of Uganda has been hijacked by a small clique of people who wield guns. For example, you saw the pictures of Kakwenza, you saw the pictures of Masereka, our coordinator. Article 43 of our Constitution, and after Article 44, you go and read all those, and you read Article 28, 24. Actually, maybe I should even begin with Article 24 of our Constitution. It prohibits torture in no uncertain terms. If you go to Article 44, it says that, you know what, these are non-derogable rights. You go to Article 28, 23, all these seem not to be existent in this country. They will pick you up, take you to Chireka or take you to CMI in Buya and keep you for a week and then release you when they want. So we think that the Constitution has been hijacked by a small group of people, and Ugandans have a right, and not just a right but a duty, to make sure that that Constitution is restored using people power.
As the opposition in this country, do you think there is any way you can come out to question or cause a stop of the challenges you're looking at and complaining about? For example, torture and the things that you're mentioning. But do you think there is a way you can really come out and influence a stop of all that?
We are trying to do different things. You've seen our members of parliament protesting. You've seen them. We are now collecting signatures. We have gone to courts here in Uganda, and we've gone to courts internationally. So we are doing different activities.
Lewis, these are things the opposition has done for the 20 years you mentioned.
That's what I'm explaining to you.
We wouldn't be seeing the same things you're complaining about because they would influence change.
Because the regime is still here. That's why I said that our preoccupation, the most important thing, is to get rid of the regime which perpetrates those violations and have a regime or a government which respects the rights of the people.
How are you going to achieve that?
I have told you through people power. All power belongs to the people. I am here speaking to all the people of Uganda that you have the power to call your leaders to account. You have the power to protest peacefully. We won elections in January. At least that one I'm 100% sure, because we collected DR forms. You saw the security forces arresting our people who had these DR forms and other things like those. And our victory was hijacked. If you ask Mr. Webakama where he was getting the results he was reading, he cannot even tell you. You saw what happened in Kayunga recently, where we won an election with over 15,000 votes. But the Electoral Commission went on and declared whatever they wanted.
You still have the hope that you can really get the sitting government out of power?
Of course.
With all that you're mentioning yourself?
I am talking about people power. And make no mistake, dictators have fallen in every single country. There has never been the rise and rise of a dictator. There's always a rise and fall of a dictator. When this man Bashir was oppressing the people, he thought he had it all. And for so many years he was there. When Blaise Compaoré in Burkina Faso was doing it, he thought he had everything. When Idi Amin was here doing whatever he did for 8 years, he thought he had everything. But there is that turning point. And for us, everything we do is geared towards that turning point. Okay?
Are you going to do that as the NUP or as a united...
It is not just the NUP, it is the people of Uganda. Our call is on the people of Uganda.
They must have a group at the front.
That's what I'm saying. For us, we're offering leadership. But we are telling the people of Uganda, people in Kalerwe, people in Wachiseka, people in Kololo, we are telling them that, look, you deserve better. When you look at the headlines, I wish I had the New Vision or the Monitor, whatever. Every day in this country, you'll see a grand corruption story. Money which should be going into healthcare, which should be going into education, which should be going into infrastructure, which should be going into other things. You've seen the debt burden of this country.
Yes.
Right now they are saying that each Ugandan, even the one who has been born today, has a debt of 1.5 million shillings on their neck. That's not what it should be. So we are saying that the people of Uganda, first of all, struggles of this nature have different phases. And those phases, for us, what we've been trying to do is enlightenment. Talk to the people, make them understand their rights, make them understand the problem, make them see the crisis in which their country is.
There's something I was saying.
Yeah.
You as the NUP, you say it is the people power that will drive whatever you target, especially overthrowing or having the regime out of the way.
Yeah.
But the people power you're talking about, I think, needs a team at the front.
That's what I'm saying. We're offering
will you do it as the NUP alone?
No. First of all, we are working with different political parties.
Really?
There are those, of course, which are not working with. Yeah. You've seen us in the past, even now, currently, we are not an island in isolation. We speak with FDC, we speak with several leaders in the Democratic Party, we speak with several leaders in NT, etc., etc.
You must be keeping these talks in the background. The public doesn't know. The public sees a different thing.
Auntie, because first of all, when you're operating under a dictatorship, make no mistake, dictators survive because they co-opt some of the people. You saw General Museveni sometime when they were swearing in the speaker. You remember what he said? He said, we are talking to some people in FDC, we are talking to DP, we are talking to UPC. It is only NUP which has refused to talk to us. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that not all the leaders in FDC are talking to Museveni, no, but he is able to compromise a few people in different parties. And he has tried, even in NUP. I cannot stand here and say that maybe he has not succeeded to compromise some people. But this is not about politicians. This is about Ugandans. The struggle we're involved in is about the people of Uganda coming together. Not just relying on politicians. Whether you're a religious leader, a traditional leader, you're whatever, you need to get involved in this cause for freedom and democracy. The teachers, the lawyers, everyone.
In terms of strategy, don't you think the NUP has disappointed people in some ways?
How?
During the election of the speakership for the current parliament,
yeah,
the number of your MPs supported the Right Honorable Kadaga, and so many others supported the Right Honorable current Deputy Speaker, NRM people.
Yeah. And
is that working with the opposition, like you say?
No, at that time the dynamics were different, and for us,
what were the dynamics that would allow you
when the president
work with someone you call an enemy?
When our president was campaigning, he went to some places and told people to vote for certain candidates who are even in NRM. You remember when he was in northern Uganda?
Yes. And
he talked about Charles Sayume, and he went to
in areas where there were opposition candidates.
Now, for us, the way we view the struggle, it is a matter of the people of Uganda. When we started the People Power Movement, we had Honorable Nambeshe, we had Honorable Nsamba. They were in NRM. We brought them together because we believe.
But at a certain point, they had to cross and entirely belong somewhere.
Actually, but before we had a political party, they were working with us, even when they were in NRM. So what am I talking about? For example, when some members of parliament, they looked at the two evils and said, are we better off with an Olanya, or are we better off with Kadaga? And the reasons were, what is the track record of these two individuals? At least, of course, I personally know that...
I remember the opposition side having a Semuju in the race.
And that's what I'm saying.
The expectation was that all opposition, the whole opposition bloc would at least lose with their own.
And that's what I'm saying, that it was born out of a discussion on strategy, but also because sometimes there's miscommunication between the parties. And that's something that we continue to try to resolve. Because sometimes... if a political party has a candidate, we expect that political party to reach out to us and we form a joint front and go out there in the election. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that all Ugandans, regardless, actually, I know that General Museveni got some few votes, although they manipulated, but you might have voted for Museveni in the last election. But we are calling upon you now to get involved in the struggle for freedom and democracy. We are saying that you deserve better. If you are in Kakumiro, down there, if you're in Mbarara, if you're in Arua, in Kaperebyong, you deserve better. And NUP and the other revolutionary forces are there to give you a voice to ensure that we get out of this malaise.
Okay, you talked of, there's something you didn't answer well. We are starting another 5 years. This is the second year. We have 3 years to go to 2026.
Yeah.
What is your strategy as a party?
I've told you that our strategy...
You say you're looking at the struggle every day, not just for the...
And that's a strategy. You see, everything we do. I know what you expect me to tell you, because what you expect me to tell you is what you are using to. Yes, if you want me to tell you that we are registering members, yes, we are doing it. If you want to tell you that we are mobilizing, yes, you've seen us launch mobilization activities, and you're going to see us moving around the country. We will attempt.
You see, you're running after a 36-year-old government.
Regime.
Yes. Now, I think it plans for the 2026, and I would expect you to have a plan.
I've told you.
Actually, all Ugandans would expect you to have.
I have told you. We have a plan for today, we have a plan for tomorrow, we have a plan for the next day.
What's the one for 2026?
Why are you taking me to 2026 when I'm telling you that I'm more focused on today?
We had
an election. Listen, we had an election in 2021. What kind of election was it? What would you go proudly, you as a journalist, and tell your children that we had an election where the leading candidate against Museveni was under house arrest, where our polling agents were arrested and kept away?
But those would be the very reasons as to why you would now have a plan.
That's what I'm saying, that our strategy is called people power. Everything else is a tactic. Our strategy is mobilizing the people of Uganda to rise up and get rid of this regime so that we can have an election. As long as this regime is there, we participate in elections just for mobilization, because we know that through an election you can topple a regime, and it has happened in several countries, in Ivory Coast and
at that very point,
and other countries.
At that very point, your seniors in the opposition, by the time you came, that was their slogan, that we only come to elections for mobilization, but we don't expect too much. Are you now in agreement with them?
No, have you ever seen the regime act the way it acted in this just recent election?
How?
The abductions, had you ever seen them do those kinds of abductions? Had you ever seen them go out and kill over 100 people on the streets of Kampala like they did in November? It means that we were able to mobilize the citizens, and the regime found itself in a very, very difficult place, having to do the most egregious violations of human rights recorded.
Is this about you as NUP or the Times?
Of course, it's the message. You remember when Honorable Chagulanyi came in and the music, we are fighting for freedom, Ogenda. This is a new kind of I don't want to call it politics, but this is a new we are involved in a revolution. And revolutions, you know, revolution build up. For us, we're involved in a revolution. Yes, General Museveni, if you go and read his sowing the mustard seed and all those. For example, in 1971, they came, attacked Mbarara, and they were annihilated, defeated. And they went back and re-strategized and came back. You understand? He took in 71, he was attacking Mbarara, but he took power in 85. In 81, they launched a bush war. So a revolution is a continuous process. I don't want to tell you that a revolution is a one-day event. It's not a dinner party like someone said. You understand? It's a continuous process. For us, what we judge, or what the question we keep asking ourselves, the questions we keep asking ourselves, are people more alert? Are people getting more involved? Are people more aware? Are people more organized? And of course, I will not come here and give you all the strategies that we're doing.
I want us to take a break, but I'm looking at 79 and taking power in 86.
Yeah.
How long are you looking at?
For us, that's why I said that we are looking at today.
Okay.
Today we are looking at tomorrow. We are saying when Museveni and his people went to the bush.
I want you to look at the circumstances, then conclude.
And I want to tell you that when Museveni and his people went to the bush, they gave themselves 10 years. And they were able to get rid of that regime in 5 years. Mm-hmm. What that means is that it is just a matter of you doing what you must do. And for us, we are believers. We pray. We pray because we believe that it's not just about us. We believe that there is a higher power. We believe that there is a God who sits in heaven and does not want the people of Uganda to continue being oppressed.
Thank you so much, Lewis. Let's take this short break. On return, we're going to look at other more things that surround the politics that we are discussing. To you watching, it's UBC One-on-One with Micheal Jordan Lukomwa, and David Lewis Rubongoya is the guest we have this evening. Do not go away.
Patriotism is a feeling of love, devotion, and the willingness to sacrifice for one's country.
I say no to corruption because I put my country first. I choose peace over violence because I put my country first.
I love Uganda. I serve Uganda. I sacrifice for Uganda. I'm loyal to Uganda. I love myself.
Be patriotic. Uganda first. This message is brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Co Uganda, Office of the President.
UBC One-on-One, welcome back from the break. We are still talking politics. My guest is David Lewis Rubongoya. He is the Secretary General of the National Unity Platform, and we are discussing how they're handling their affairs as a party, and as well, we're having a general look at the political space in this beautiful country of ours, Uganda. Sir, welcome back from the break.
Thank you.
Now, you are a party one would look at as so radical. I will apologize if I'm wrong. We have seen your people going for the necks of others within the party and outside the party. When they choose somebody, if they disagree with somebody, they will go for them, no matter the platform, no matter the language, no matter the way. Whoever they look at as an enemy, that person will have to regret. Can that help you capture power in Uganda? Because you have already enemies within the party. I don't know whether they are enemies, but I've had members going for members. You have enemies within the opposition, the way they are going for some opposition figures, cultural leaders. You have a group of young people that don't want to listen. In fact, those are the slogans. Can radicalism really be a strategy to take you to power as a party?
First of all, you need to ask yourself a question. How did we end up here? How did we end up in a society where so many people are angry? Where you have big sections of the people completely ignored by the system, on the periphery, where they don't have opportunities. You know, we're talking about a country where, you know, over 80% of the people are young people.
Yes.
And you know the unemployment rates. You know the people, you know the statistics of those who begin primary school and those who are able actually to complete through the school. So many of them dropping out of school along the way. What do you expect in such a situation? You have a situation, a country, which has not seen a peaceful transfer of power from one leader to another. You have a country where the young people are disempowered. They don't feel empowered in any other way. So when these people vent out their frustrations on social media and all that, I want you to understand them. At least they have not held guns like Museveni did. What is more radical? Being on Facebook and abusing someone and calling you names, or getting guns and killing over 500,000 people?
You asked me what my expectation would be.
And that's what I'm saying. That
let me tell you what my expectation would be. Like we have been talking in our previous discussion, a strategy to see how we take what deserves to us. If I were you.
But that's what I'm saying, that these people are angry. These people are angry. They are angry because they have been disenfranchised by the system. They are angry because they went to vote and their election was grabbed by a regime. Just tell me, what would you say to a person in Kayunga who went in the morning and voted for Nakwede, and by evening the regime, using the military and everything, came and declared another candidate who had not won? And then you blame them for coming to social media and venting out their frustrations and being angry. So one of the things that you need to understand is that NUP is non-violent. That is our policy.
Really?
Yes. And you've seen our president speak out so many times about non-violence. Every time there has been violence, physical violence, because you know, most of what you're talking about are words on social media, people abusing whoever. But the violence that you've seen, almost 90% of it has always been started by the regime.
Actually, this is what people would think. If this guy's got power.
Which people?
The NUP.
Which
and
people are you talking
figures. People that see things from a different
you say
angle.
that me, this is what I
Okay, let me stand in for them. If you guys got power with the anger that we see on social media and other platforms, what would happen to those that confront you? Won't you sit in the chair that does the torture like you complained?
But how can you say that when you saw our campaign trail, for example? People were surprised that these people, the young people, were moving with our president. They were not violent. They were disciplined. People were even amazed and shocked. You see where you sit, and I want this perception to change. I personally,
I put on those people's hat.
That's what I'm saying.
Not me.
Look at me and my background. I'm a lawyer,
yes,
an advocate. The society in which I grew up used to say that those are bayaye, people have dreadlocks. And my friend, when I came and interacted with these people, I found that they are some of the most genuine people you'll find. Peaceful people. They mean what they say, and they say what they mean.
Lewis, what do you make of the insults meted at other leaders like you from other political parties?
But that's what I said. You see, before you look at the wrong that is being done,
yes,
first understand where is it coming from.
Actually, all people that torture people will take an excuse of causation.
No, but that's, you see, I'm telling you
I've
that...
heard of a security man who says, yes, he shot her.
First of all...
Why did you shoot her?
First of all, I do not agree with the insults you're talking about.
Yes.
Many times we've seen the regime people create fake accounts as NUP and start abusing people so that NUP can be portrayed in bad light. Sometimes our own people, because of indiscipline and another question that I talked about of anger and frustration and feeling dejected and feeling that they are disenfranchised, some of them will come out and use that language. And we've been speaking out. The president, just for information, this very week, our president called a group of over 200 young people that we work with and was talking to them about discipline. And talking to them that, you know, everywhere you are, whatever you do, you're representing me. So we are a disciplined group of people. The first value of the 6 values I talked about that we represent, the first one is discipline. That is what we believe in. But the regime in Uganda always tries to portray its opponents as violent so that they can deal with us violently. You remember, Honorable Segirinya and Sewanyana are now in prison because they say that they were killing people in Masaka.
Your president has come out and defended a man that had made people cry.
Who?
Some gentleman in the diaspora that was throwing accusations, so and so poisoned, so and so, so and so.
Our president. Did you see
the president came out? Your president came out and defended this man.
Did you see our president yesterday?
Will he one day come out and apologize to the people?
Did you see our president yesterday when he put out a tweet in calling for the respect of the rights of Malema Bidisi? Malema Bidisi, the lawyer called Malema Bidisi, has attacked our president, has attacked NUP, has done everything. But for us, even Sipapa...
There is a difference. Let me show you the difference. Malema Bidisi has formally gone to court against your president.
No.
I wouldn't agree.
Not just formally. He has been on social media calling us names and other things.
Yes.
I'm also giving an example of Sipapa. He came here and shot with a group of people and they shot here at our gate. People were injured, and we opened we put a report at the Chida Road police station. No investigation ever took place. But when he was arrested, our president was the first to come out and tweet and post on Facebook that let the rights of Sipapa be respected.
In fact, I'll ask the president, you on the behalf of your president, does he write these tweets in good faith or as political strategies?
No. He writes them because these are things that...
Does your president really feel good for Mabirizi?
Of course. For him, it's not about feeling good. It's about the rule of law. And that's why we say, I may disagree with you, but I will defend with my life your right to speak what you speak.
So Mr. Chagulanyi would love to see Mabirizi free?
He would love to see Mabirizi, lawyer Mabirizi, being treated in accordance with the law. If he is arrested, take him through the due process of law. You understand? So for us, we come out, every person who we feel is being oppressed.
You didn't answer me well about the man in the diaspora who would say, Rubongoya killed this, so and so killed.
And I've told you that our focus has always
The president
been...
came out to defend this man.
Yes, defend
Actually,
what?
He described him as a political activist.
Yes, political
unhappy.
And no, the point I'm making is that our strategy or our approach has been to make sure that every person who we feel is being oppressed. You see, even General Museveni, with all the crimes he has committed, we want him to face court one day. But we want his rights to be. We want him to go to court, be taken through the trial. For us, we are for the rule of law. We don't want him to go through a sham trial. No, we want him to be tried. You see the pictures of these people? I wish your camera would look at them. All these victims who were killed, different. Rita Nabukenya was knocked by a police car. Daniel Chene was shot by another LODU. Charles Mutiawele was knocked by a police van. This young man was... All these people. We want the perpetrators of these crimes to face justice, but we want it to be done in accordance with the law.
But what are you going to do about the radicalism? Won't it cost you something?
I've told you that the radicalism, and first of all, I want you to...
You have lost friends as a party.
There's something I've emphasized, which
Yes.
you've not answered. I've told you that we are not more radical than the Musevenis who took guns and killed hundreds of thousands of people.
Maybe you have not yet gotten the guns.
No, come on. Are you suggesting that if we wanted to use that approach, we wouldn't?
No. The radical voices have gone for your neck, you as an individual. What do you make of it?
I've told you already that some of the people are regime propagandists. We know how this regime operates.
Within your parties, the opposition?
Of course, the regime, for example, you know that Twitter closed down over 400 of the NRM Twitter accounts, the fake accounts. You know that the Facebook, you remember, they closed so many accounts before we went to elections because the NRM thought that because they have a lot of support on social media, they also tried to get propagandists. And some of them would claim to belong to NUP so that they can sow discord or divisions amongst us and that kind of thing. But for us, we keep focused on the ultimate goal. And that ultimate goal is seeing our nation free from oppression.
It is common with you people in the opposition, whoever you don't agree with, you say you're working for the regime. You're working, even some evidence is brought out.
Yeah. I've
seen a picture of Dr. Besigye shaking hands with the president at Namugongo, Mao doing some iPod stuff with the president. People that attack you blame you for working with the NRM. I want you to clear the air about that. What is the history between you and the NRM?
But my history is all for everyone to see. I was a supporter of NRM, and I've never disagreed with that. I was a supporter of NRM, and like many people, where Dr. Chiza Besigye worked with Museveni before, General Muntu worked with Museveni before, and many others, many political leaders that we have in this country. But a time reached, and I disagreed. And on principle, the things I'm talking about here, I'm a human rights lawyer. I cannot support a system which violates human rights with impunity. I'm a constitutional law expert. I've studied constitutional law at the highest level. I cannot support a regime which does not have respect for the Constitution and for constitutionalism and the rule of law.
Let me tell you, some young people in the diaspora blame you for misguiding their president or on orders from elsewhere.
But
just an answer to those people.
No, but if anyone says that, then first of all, I've not heard some of the things you're talking about. It might be one person or the other. But the person, the president, if you believe that I am a president, then you must trust in my ability to take decisions. So our president takes decisions. I don't want you to say that I am... No, for us, we do things as a team. But he's our leader. And ultimately, when we agree, he will give us the direction to take. So if you make a suggestion that I've misguided him, then it means that you're not even believing him in the first place. But if you believe in Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi as your president, you must believe in his ability to know...
To make decisions.
To make decisions and to know who he works with. Honorable Kyagulanyi knows the journey that we've traveled thus far. I met with him as his lecturer, and we started talking about this country and what was going on. And a time reached and we said, no.
Let's start something.
It is no longer, no, not just let's something. We said, you've been thinking about these things, but nothing is changing. I have been teaching constitutional law, but nothing is changing. Why don't we get involved in the real struggle and try to change things physically?
You said you are working with everyone else.
Yeah.
Why did you refuse to join the iPod as the NUP?
We clearly talked about it. We talked about it, that iPod, the full meaning of iPod is Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue.
Exactly.
Now, we can talk to any other political party under dialogue. But what we disagree with NRM is the idea that you can place your foot on my neck and say, let's talk. The idea that you can get my supporters and imprison them for no reason.
Isn't this a platform for you to air out that?
But I am saying that that's not. Museveni believes in cooptation, not dialogue. You've seen everyone who has tried. Tell me one person who has talked to him, and then they have come up with a solution to take the country forward. He believes in cooptation. when he talks to someone in FDC like Ochitiwa Joseph Gwao, he co-opts them, puts them in his cabinet. But the things we're talking about are matters of the country. We're talking about transition. We're talking about unemployment. We're talking about healthcare. We're talking about education. We're talking about what they call classified expenditure. We're talking about corruption. So our dialogue, the dialogue we want to involve in, is a dialogue that can take this country forward. And I've not said that NUP can never talk to Museveni. No. We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place. When we wrote to IPOD, when they said join, we said we appreciate you for the invitation, but we cannot join when our people are being tortured, when we are not allowed to operate as a political party, when our mobilization activities are cracked down, when our supporters are tortured and names plucked out and others killed, extrajudicial killings and all that. We said let these things first cease and let's sit on a table as equals and discuss.
Your member, Dr. Abed Bwanika, suggested exactly that. Let's sit with these people, discuss and agree about our people that are still imprisoned.
He gave an opinion.
And you people disagreed to it?
Yes, he gave an opinion.
So
and,
are you suggesting things that you could
no,
not again
in a house, you will not always have people on the same, with the same mind. You understand? We all don't have the same mind, even in your own family, your wife, your children, you will not think the same way. So he gave his opinion, and we came out and explained why we do not agree with that approach. Because the young people in prisons did not commit any offense. You remember when the Nubian Liz and Eddie Mutwez were in jail. The state claimed that, I think 49 of them, that they were found with 2 magazines and 4 bullets. Even a person who is not a lawyer or who has not gone to school can see that that was bogus. What are civilians in the first place doing in military courts? So these are the things we're talking about. So you want me to go and talk to Museveni and say, please, let's not try our people in these military courts. And then what will happen tomorrow if they do the same thing? Because what they were doing was legitimate. These were just supporting NUP. So are you saying that tomorrow if other people are again supporting NUP and they were arrested, then we go again to General Museveni and say, please, please? No, that's not what we believe in.
I thought he was talking about dialogue, not begging.
But that's what I'm saying, that dialogue must be structured differently. We don't believe that the dialogue should be just about the politicians, should be about the people of Uganda. We also believe that dialogue should have a specific agenda, and one of the key things that we must discuss in that agenda is the question of transition.
Now, this one is about all of you people in the opposition.
Yeah.
You are lawyers, doctors, senior professors, people of that caliber. How can a group of such people fail to unite? How?
Because
when actually you have a common target.
That's what underline that word, common target. Because you know, when you're operating in a dictatorship, not everyone has a common target. You understand what I'm saying? I refer you to the letter which our president wrote at the end of the year, and he talked about our efforts. Because when we came out on board as People Power, we started reaching out to political parties. Me, as a lecturer, previously, I used to ask questions like yours. How can this world fail to unite? Until I came in and realized that actually, someone may be in the opposition, but when they're actually working for Museveni, and Museveni has come out to clearly indicate that. He said, you know, I'm talking to some people in all these parties, and he said that it is only NUP which has refused for now to speak with me.
But at that very event, you proved him wrong.
No, what that means is that what you see as opposition disunity, sometimes it is simply because General Museveni gets some people, plants them in the opposition, quote unquote, and those people are there to frustrate.
Yeah, but the clear minds still would connect due to the clarity around them.
That's exactly what we are doing.
Yes.
We have a coalition of the willing, and the coalition of the willing has been we have people who are clear-headed from different political parties, and that's why I gave an example of when we started People Power. You saw us get people from different political parties who were clear-headed. For example, we've been talking to Dr. Besige and a few other leaders in different opposition political parties. I even don't like to call it opposition because we should be government now, except that our victory was hijacked by the regime. But we are building, and you'll see us connect more. We believe in unity.
This is what I think could be the problem. All of you, the different political parties in the opposition, go for talks with others to have them join you support you, not actually work together for a common goal.
But our
Do
president,
you agree with me?
The president, Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert, indicated even in his statement that he was willing to actually not be a candidate, to support another person, if there was a transparent process through which we would select a joint common candidate for the people of Uganda in the last election.
Just after elections, there is a group that came up with the red card movement.
But you saw us right to this...
I interviewed one of them and he said, I think we're not talking to them again. They seem not to be interested.
No, but they wrote to us and you saw us respond to them. We are talking. I don't know why you're trying to create an impression that no. we're not talking. We are talking, and at the right time,
I base it on information I get from engagements like the one I'm having with you.
What I can say is that the forces of change in this country will eventually unite. But I must emphasize again that the unity that we're talking about is not just about the politicians, because the politicians can be compromised, the politicians can get comfortable, the politicians can get diverted. The people of Uganda must unite and deal with the problem that affects us.
A few weeks ago, my brothers in the profession had headlines in different denominations about you people having a cash bonanza fight within the NUP.
But you saw, we came out to say that that's bogus. That was bogus reporting from the regime and its propagandists, so to say. We asked them for proof and there was nothing. They said they were fighting over cash, I don't know for what. And they did not quote their sources. I mean, I think you're referring to New Vision stories. Because
later on, we saw the same stories on the other front pages.
Which ones? What was the story exactly? Because they were saying NUP is divided in approach, that there's an approach. All that is propaganda meant to derail and divert us. There's no conflict in NUP. We are solid, we are united as a people. The regime, of course, will try to bring in confusion, to bring in disagreements and all that. But what I can tell you, we are united, at least at the leadership
level.
Actually,
I'll add that with the money for iPod.
Yeah.
There are stories that you are not attending iPod meetings and other activities, but the resources you are enjoying.
But you must, as a journalist, you're informed. So I believe that you read the law. And you know that there is nothing like iPod money. There is money which is appropriated by Parliament for political parties in this country, which are represented in Parliament.
What do you think about that money as political parties in the country?
Actually, that money...
Is it right when we still need to pay teachers and what? Do we need to fund you as taxpayers, fund you as political parties?
Of course, in all countries which actually believe in democracy and the rule of law, political parties are supported. In this country, you see, actually, I think that money was mostly put there to support NRM because, you know, of their numbers and whatever they do. After rigging and getting all these MPs, for example, when they release 23 billion shillings for support political party, NRM will take 17 billions and run away with it. And then the rest of the parties are given some little money to share among themselves. But the most important thing is that this money is provided for by the law. We can debate what the priorities of the country should be. And for me, that's what I've been telling you, that if you look at the money that we spend on the military, if you look at the money that is lost through corruption, if you look at all these, we need to have a discussion about how to change our country fundamentally.
Thank you so much. His name is David Lewis Rubongoya. He is the Secretary General of the National Unity Platform. It is a political party new in Uganda. They're now in the command of the opposition in Parliament and in the country. We thank you so much for watching. That is all we had for you tonight. My name is Micheal Jordan Lukomwa with Davis Kamukama and the whole team. Bye-bye and good night.